Hi, everyone. Welcome to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week's portion is portion of Vaera. It's in our edition, Volume 8, and we're at paragraph 21. Let's invite in the our Kabbalists and other tzaddikim, the Rav Karni Michael, Rabbi Schlag, Rabbi Brandwein, the Ria Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Terfon, Rabbi Mizulai, Rabbi Nachman, the Beloved Teps, Rav Kolona Mishpir, Pia Setzna, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and all the students, Rav Mordechai of Chernobyl, one soul with Yosef Tzaddik and Shem. Yesterday was the new moon of Shvat, of Aquarius. Today is the second day, and it's also the anniversary of elevation of Rav Meshulam Zusha of Anapoli, otherwise known as Rav Zusha, who was the Noam Elimelech's brother, and who we visited his burial spot. For those of you who've done tours of the burial spots for righteous souls in Europe, in Poland and Ukraine, we visited there. It's one of the big stops. So we have his assistance today. And as we connect to these verses, no matter where we are, we want to have a consciousness of the interconnectedness of everything. Really, literally, this is one world. And even though there are challenges going on around the world, we have the ability to connect to the flawless universe and channel an energy of healing and an energy of ending the war, energy of protection for those we know who need healing, and those souls that are transitioning. We want to send them energy of comfort on their journey. Also, the energy necessary to free the hostages that are being held in the war in Israel, and protection for everyone in harm's way. And of course, the soldiers who are trying to rescue those hostages. And we also want to connect to the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, and treating everyone in the world with human decency. So that brings us to verse 21. The article is entitled Visible and Invisible Colors. And this is not an arts and crafts class, so we'll have to see what's going on. Verse 21, Rabbi Shimon Hava Yativ Yoma Chad, the Rabbi Elazar Beret, Rabbi Abba Ime, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Hai Krad Yichtiv, Ba'era El Abraham El Yitzchak El Yaakov Gomer, Mahu Ba'era, Vadaber Mi Ba'ele, Amar Le, Elazar Beri, Raza Ila'a Ihu. Rocky?
21. One day, Rabbi Shimon was sitting one day with his son, Rabbi Elazar, and Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Elazar said in the passage, and I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob.
Okay, why? So before we go on, so it's a curious thing in the first line. It looks like he was singing with him one day. He was singing with him one day. It looks a little like extra words there. Maybe it was a editorial error. It's possible, but really, when you look at the Aramaic, it's Yativ Yoma Achad. So it's almost as if one day, once upon a time, they were sitting for a day. So it kind of begs the question, like, what is a day? Well, we don't know what day is. We're talking about it's like sun up to sun. It's a full cycle of one sunrise to the next sunrise. Or Kabbalistically on the calendar, it's one sunset. Actually, the day begins at sunset. So, for example, like Shabbat, this is Friday. Shabbat is Friday night. But that's just a convenience to refer to it as Friday night. I mean, first of all, Friday is just a label anyhow. And night, okay, on the Kabbalistic calendar, the day starts at night. The 24-hour period that marks the complete cycle is at night. That's why the holidays are always at night. That's why Shabbat is always at night. That's the beginning of the Sabbath. And if you go back to the creation story in the 5 books of Moses in the Bible, in the Torah, it's Vayhi Erev Vayhi Boker. There was a night and there was a day. That was a complete cycle. So, but we don't look at it that way. We look at like the day starts at sunrise, but it doesn't. daylight starts at sunrise, but the day actually, the way we mark a day, Kabbalistically started at sunset. Yet we refer to this as Friday night as opposed to the beginning of Sabbath. We call it that also. And I bring this up because it's important that we pause and think about how we view things like a day, how we view life, how we view our career, how we view our relationships. We're dragging around preconceived notions about everything. It's as simple as saying, like, I'm saying the day starts at sunset, but the sun never sets. The earth rotates. So even that is like somewhat of a mislabeled reference point. It's easier for us to look at it like sunset, and certainly it's nice to watch the sunset, but really it's what we're watching is the Earth's rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And again, our ability to take a step back and look at what's happening at a much deeper level gives us the ability to appreciate what's happening at a much deeper level. Which brings us to today's topic, which is Vaera. And the verse is, it's chapter 6, the third verse of Shemot, which is we call Exodus. But again, we call it Exodus because it's the story of the children of Israel leaving Egypt. But Shemot doesn't mean Exodus. Shemot means names. So again, it's like, well, why are we calling it one thing when it's literally something else? I don't want to spend much time on that, but what I do want to spend time on is the topic, which is Vaera, which means, and he appeared. Meaning, this is the Creator talking to Moses. And he tells him, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Doesn't Moses already know that? Doesn't Moses already know that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were the patriarchs? He does know that. So really, what's going on here? Keep going.
Why is and I appeared stated? It should state and I spoke. Rabbi Shimon said to him, Eliezer, my son, this is a very high secret.
Okay, so Rabbi Elazar is asking, why does it say and he appeared? Why doesn't it just say, why isn't the Creator just telling Moses, by the way, I had a whole series of conversations with your forefathers. Why is it saying he appeared? So obviously, Rabbi Shimon points out, there's a very deep secret here, a very high secret, a very elevated secret. So the first opportunity we get in unpacking all this is the ability to take a step back and critically look at what's going on in our lives. That's the first thing. And the second opportunity we get is to think about why things show up in our lives the way that they do. And what is it that is showing up that we're not seeing, that we actually need a reminder about? What is going on? There are things that are going on all the time we have zero appreciation for, or less appreciation than we should have. And maybe it's just to a certain degree that we naturally, it's human nature to just take something for granted. But I don't think we're talking about that. I think we're talking about having a deeper appreciation for the messages we're getting that we're not reading. It's like we're not reading the tea leaves. We're not reading the writing on the wall. How many other like proverbs can I come up with? Things are going on around us and we're just not seeing the significance. So the huge benefit we get from this portion is the ability to see that deeper reality, to gain an understanding of the significance of events and circumstances and challenges that are happening in our life. Yes, Maria.
But when you said, thank you for the explanation, but I also perceiving that when he says, I appeared, I think it's coming from a different level of consciousness, right?
Yes.
Than versus somebody talking
Yeah.
to me. I feel that if something appears to me of that level, it's just a stronger inner connection, a higher level of understanding why that appearance came to me, angels, whatever, God speaking to me.
Absolutely.
Well, this is actually God versus someone with higher level IQ, studies, and in our community coming and talking to me and telling me this is what, speaking and saying it to me.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. Just talking about our teachers for a second, I'd like to think I think good therapists will say this too, like all they're doing is holding a mirror up for us to see. So, which is funny, not haha, it's funny because this realm is all reflection. There's no light. This realm has no light of its own. It doesn't generate any of its own. It's totally reflective light, both physically and for sure energetically and spiritually. So, but again, to your point, the difference between saying I spoke to them and I appeared to them is one of degree. Absolutely, as we'll see. As we'll see. Okay, let's continue. Thanks for that point. 22. Tachazai it gavni mit the mitchazian, bit gavni the la mitchazian. Vilain, inun raza ila ad hemanuta, v'nenasha la yadin le, v'la mistaklin be, the elaine the mitchazian. La zachabu barnash, ad atu abahan, the kaimu alayhu, the adakativ, ba'era the chamu, inun gavnin the it galyan.
22. Come and see. There are visible colors and invisible colors.
Okay, so think about it for just in terms of what we see. There's a spectrum of colors that we can see, but there's a spectrum that's beyond what we can see. We're limited. Like our eyes are filters. They don't let everything in. Our brain really can't handle it. So there are aspects of the visual realm that we don't see. Right? There are aspects of the auditory realm that we don't hear. There are aspects of what feelings we're experiencing that we're just numb to. There's what we know, and then there's what we know we don't know, and then there's what we don't even know we don't know. There's just all different categories of information that's out there. And this is why, the Kabbalists say the reality that we perceive is about 1% of reality. Now, we want to perceive a deeper reality because here we are in our soul's journey of all kinds of challenges. Like, I would really like to know why this has happened and what the significance is. So I can adapt and I can navigate in a more positive way. And so ultimately, I can change the world. I can manifest more blessings for the world. Okay, keep going.
And both are a high secret of the faith, but people neither know it nor observe it. No one was worthy of the visible colors until the patriarchs came and understood them, that is, conceived them. Of this it is written, and I appeared since they saw the visible colors.
Okay, so we're getting a sense it's not just about color. It's not like we don't really care to what degree the patriarchs had color blindness or not. That's not what it's about. And also the Zohar is telling us that they opened up unique channels. And so we know the channels that they opened up are the Sfirot. There are 10 channels of energy of the Creator that find their way into our realm. And they are hidden. And we don't see them. But when Abraham came around, he opened the channel up for chesed, for mercy. Oh, and we know the color of that is white. But that's, again, a reference point. But what the Zohar is telling us is that our world is being opened up to channel more blessings. And those three patriarchs, each in their own way, had the energy to open up a particular channel. And that's their significance. They're not significant because they did great things for mankind. You know, they ran a charity, or they, you know, solved hunger. They opened up channels of energy from the Creator, which is an even higher level of help to humanity.
Mhm.
But the Zohar is also telling us another thing. People neither know it nor observe it. And that's the reality, that here we are with our study, we're learning about those 10 sfirot, those 10 energetic channels. But most people don't have a clue about them. People neither know nor observe.
And I just want to add, it's good because sometimes when we go through, at least me, through meditation, guided meditation with our community, and they guide us, and they, you know, sometimes they guide us to look for specific lighting colors and to share about it. I think this is related to this. These sages have, you know, opened that door for us through this study, so we could understand better our level of connection, right? Through the 10, what level of connection
Absolutely.
we are, and to try to understand those colors, right? That we able to, through meditation, actually see them and feel them around us, and we don't understand which level of those sephirot we are at. So we could kind of understand if at that moment we in the state of mercy, right, or judgment, and through that meditation we'll be able to understand that other realm that we just don't see or pay
Right.
attention in this physicality.
Right. And I would add to that we, you know, we are naturally sensitive, and we all have different levels of sensitivity. But because we're naturally sensitive, we get distracted by all kinds of things. The opponent, that's the opponent's job, to distract us. And so that can be a really painful life when our sensitivities are being drawn into painful places, as opposed to using that sensitivity through the tools that we have to draw our attention and our sensitivity to more positive places. So the things that you're referring to, that our teachers do, the meditations, it's all geared towards helping us use our gifts, our consciousness, to draw more positivity in the world for us and for the world around us, receiving that for the sake of sharing. And one of the greatest tools is the Zohar, and this Zohar in particular, which is why I think it's so appropriate for us as a group to take a look at, is because it's helping us also discern the differences between things that are important for us to pay attention to and things that are just distractions that are just trying to get us off our journey. And so that's another huge benefit we get from studying this section. That ability to discern and to have awareness, a conscious awareness of where our consciousness is and where we would like it to be. Because if we leave it, if we're not paying attention, we'll just get dragged down. There's a constant bombardment of negative energy out there. Okay, let's continue. Verse 23. Uman gavnin dit galyam inun de el shakai de inun chezu de gavavni ilain de elain itchazyan ugvavnin dilela stimin de la itchazyan la kaim inish alayu bar memoshe ve'al dakativ ushmi Hashem lo nadati lahem lo la itgaleti lon bigvavnin ilain V'itema d'avahan la havo yad ebuhu ela avo yade migoy inun d'itgal yad. Right.
23. And which colors appeared? They are of El Shaddai, which is Mahut, which are the reflection of the supernal colors, which are in Hesed, Guvra, and Teferet of Zerampian.
Okay, so the Zohar is confirming for us what we already figured out from the last paragraph, which is that when we talk about the colors, we're talking about the Sfirot. You know, why is there 31 flavors of ice cream? Because we want to have a variety. You know, the more ice cream flavors there are. These are like the flavors. I mean, we're looking at it in terms of how we see the colors. But another level, they're just flavors of it. It's just our life's experience. It's so much deeper than just color. It's energy. As always, it's just energy. And what the Zohar is telling us is that they're of El Shakai. El Shakai is an aspect of the Creator, and which manifests as Malchut, which is the vessel. And what manifests in the vessel? Those supernal colors, Chesed, Gvur, Tiferet of Zeir Anpin. So again, we have Malchut, which is the vessel, and then we have the Sefirot above Malchut. And the six that are immediately above are the six Sefirot of Zeir Anpin, and the first three of those are Chesed, Gvur, Tiferet, mercy, judgment, and balance, otherwise known as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are those three channels. So those manifest in our world. Go ahead.
These are the visible colors, which means that they contain Hokmah.
Okay, so we're about to make a distinction between the visible colors and the less visible colors, otherwise known as invisible colors. And what makes these visible is that they contain Chokhmah, which is the second Sfirah from on top. It's the river that flows into Binah, which is the reservoir of all fulfillment. So these are aspects of fulfillment directly from Chokhmah. And when the three Sfirot of Chesed, Gvur, Tiferet have Chokhmah, contain Chokhmah, they are visible in our realm. That's what the Zohar is telling us.
So if just for me, like I'm a 5-year-old, like I'm 5. So when we look at, and I had to refer back to the beginning because Hesed is mercy, right? Gvurah is judgment, and Tiferet is splendor.
Is the balance.
That's the balance, right? Splendor is the balance between the two.
Yes.
Mercy and judgment. And the combination of the three gives you wisdom, which is Hokmah, right?
Well, the Zohar is saying a little bit more than that. The Zohar is saying that they are containing Chokhmah.
So inside of the...
If they didn't have, in other words, if they didn't have Chokhmah, would they be manifesting here? Let's read on.
Not in this. Okay, I see. I got it. Okay.
Let's read on. I mean, the Zohar is setting us up to be able to draw an important distinction.
Okay, and the colors above in Hesed, Gvurah, and Tiferet of Zeir Anpin, which are concealed since they are invisible, which means they do not contain Hokmah, but only the light of Hasidim.
Okay, so the Zohar is saying is, those three Sfirot are in Zeir Anpin. If they don't contain Chokhmah, they're not manifesting in Malchut.
And Malchut is the kingdom, which is the vessel of
our world, our realm.
How we materialize and show up. Right. Okay.
Correct. We still might not see them, but they're here.
But they're here.
But there's a distinction between those that contain Chokhmah and those that are merely containing Chasidim, the light of Chasidim. Chokhmah and Chasidim are two right column energies. Okay, let's continue.
But only the light of Hasidim. No person understood them to perceive them there in Zeir Anpin, except for Moses.
Okay, here's the important point. Moses perceived those Sefirot in the upper realm of Zeir Anpin. He's the only one who did. And so what this helps us to understand is the significance of who Moses was. He was half man, half angel. He was able to perceive a much deeper reality because he was Zeir Anpin. He was the channel for Zeir Anpin. And so one of the reasons why, we've talked about this, but one of the reasons why we refer to the Torah as the 5 books of Moses is because the Torah represents the energy of Zeir Anpin. And so when we connect to the Torah, we're connecting to Zeir Anpin. And that is something that Moses channeled for us. And so even in the Torah scroll itself, every column starts with the letter Vav, which means 6. This is the 6th letter. So energetically, it's the number 6, which is Zeir Anpin. So like all of the Torah is flowing into Malchut through Zeir Anpin. And that was Moses. And so he is the one who bridged that connection. And that's the energy in the Torah is what gives us the ability to connect to Zeir Anpin. It's very significant. Now, in the story that we'll be reading this week of Vaera, Moses hasn't brought the Torah down on Mount Sinai yet. He's still working on the Exodus. And it's not going very well, by the way. Well, it's going exactly as it's supposed to go, but his first request to Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go fell on deaf ears, which is why we have the first 7 plagues coming up. Energy of the Sfirot coming into our realm to change. It was a game changer. It's what was necessary, the energy that was necessary to free the children of Israel from the bondage in Egypt. And by bondage, we mean limited consciousness. They were enslaved by their limited consciousness. And so we also, these are the weeks that we're going through as we approach the redemption from Egypt, which is our freedom from ego, from this very narrow view. Egypt is a narrow view of the world. It's a limited view of the world. It's a view of the world where we don't see any sfirot, we don't see any spiritual realm. We only see physicality. And so every decision we make is based on physicality, 1% of reality. So the deeper opportunity we have in these verses is, again, to see beyond that limited view, to see beyond Egypt, Mitzrayim, to see beyond our ego. Okay, let's keep going.
Of this it is written, but by my name, Hashem, I was not known to them. Which means...
Wait. So he said, and what name Hashem is it? That's the Tetragrammaton, the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So the Creator is telling Moses, I wasn't known to the patriarchs as Yud Kei Vav Kei. In other words, the Yud Kei Vav Kei concept hadn't been introduced yet. I appeared to them, but not in the same way. Okay, keep going.
Which means I did not appear to them in the superior colors in Hesed, Guvra, and Tiferet of Zeir Anpin, which is called Yud He Vav Kei.
So if I didn't appear to them, that's the invisible colors. They didn't perceive those colors. That's what the Zohar is telling us. That's what Rabbi Shimon is telling us. And so we're seeing these distinctions. What's the difference between the 3 patriarchs and Moses? Well, some significant difference. It doesn't mean they weren't incredibly elevated. They were among the most elevated souls that ever walked the face of the earth. That's not the point. The point is that there were differences. And again, that's the way our world is built. It's fragmented energy. Before creation, the full impact and force and significance of the energy of the creator was in equal proportions in every point of reality. But because we wanted the ability to earn that light, we live in now in this, the light that Simpson occurred, the light pulled back, leaving us with just this realm to navigate, so that the things we do can bring forward light. So we would feel like we're actually participating in creation. So we'd feel like the light didn't just fall in our lap, we actually earned it. That's why we have the challenges that we did, because we wanted an environment to earn light. So the patriarchs had a different relationship with the reality than Moses did. Okay, keep going.
And if you claim that the patriarchs did not know the name Yud-K, Vav-K, which is Hesed, Guvra, and Tiferet of Zer and Pin, this is utterly impossible. For the patriarchs are a chariot to Hesed, Guvra, and Tiferet of Zer and Pin.
Okay, so wait, what do you mean? They didn't know Yud-K, Vav-K? Well, they did know it. We're not saying that they didn't know it. Keep going.
But rather they knew it from those colors that were visible in Mahut. So a limited view.
Yes. A limited view, and so for us, it's an understanding that, you know, even the patriarchs viewed reality different than the way that Moses did. They did see, but they did connect to those sfirot. They had a consciousness, but it was different than the perspective that Moses had. Now, here's the thing. We've all heard our teachers say, don't take these physical descriptions as really accurately describing the upper realm. Are there colors in the upper realm? Not the way we understand color. So this whole description of visible and invisible colors is there so we can wrap our heads around it. So it's taking these supernal concepts and putting them in human terms so we can get a glimpse of what we're doing. But they're not really colors. It's really energy. But even that is somewhat limited. Like my understanding of energy is a fraction of what energetically is going on in the world. My concept of energy is what I learned in like earth sciences in the 10th grade or 9th grade. I don't remember now. Like it's like how we view the world around us, but it's the physical world. It's not the upper realm. So even though this is being described as visible and invisible colors, it's just there so we can start to wrap our heads around these distinctions. Any questions about that?
It just keeps coming up for me. We just don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. But we got to start somewhere. And so we're starting, this is where we're starting, with the idea of visible and invisible colors. But just so we're clear, even that is an approximation. You know, there's this concept, you've all probably heard it, there's this concept in quantum physics that the physical things that we encounter aren't really where we see them. But our brain sharpens the focus so that we can navigate the energy that's around us. Yeah. Like, you know, if you wear glasses and you take glasses and you see everything's really, really blurry, maybe that's closer to reality. In terms of what space physical items actually occupy. Yes, Maria.
So when we encounter different experiences in this physicality that we are, right? Depending how we perceive them, sometimes we just like, I'll let it happen. It happened. that is another level of perceiving and a level of connection with the light, right? And then other times we react to it, we panic, we're like, oh my God, we're stressed out. It's just like we're just overwhelmed with this level over here, which we really needs to let go and kind of come back to step
Yeah,
one.
absolutely. It's a really important awareness. And that is like, is it good or is it bad? I don't know. How do I ever know? Because I don't have all the information.
That's
listening-
because our perception is based upon our reality and what we've experienced.
And
You
that's
know,
what we-
this subjective is like, you know, you can only know what you know.
right, that's what we know.
That's
because
correct.
we live, right?
That's
This
correct.
course is giving us this teaching, so we know there's more to it. So it helps us disconnect from this physicality. So we just like let it go because it's just an illusion.
It is. It's the paradox of realizing the less we know, the more we know. It's a paradox.
Or the more we
Realize
know
I don't-
what we
the more
don't
I
know.
realize I don't know.
I
is
don't know.
actually
right.
knowing more.
Yeah.
It's funny because going through some things the last 48 hours, and I'm so calm about it. And I asked myself that question when I was doing my meditation. It's like, why am I so la 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 about it, right? And I think it was, because it is what it is. Why should I worry about? I live in this world that things happen, and I just in the process of these teachings that is actually I'm learning how to really separate both worlds in what actually it's more beneficial to me, since I'm here listening and learning every day for my own benefit, right? Because that's
Absolutely.
where I want to be. I want to be in a different level than just
Absolutely.
being attached to a physicality world that's just destructive.
Right. I mean, to a great degree, it's the idea that just the feelings, the anxiety I have, right? It's based on a guess about what's going to happen in the future. It's not real.
Projecting.
Yeah, it's a projection. And it's like, that again, it's a reminder, the more present I am, the more grounded I am. I mean, I need to deal with what's happening now. And even that, I just don't know. I just don't know. So like, it's not worth getting all worked up about things that we just don't know. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this idea of visible and invisible colors. I see what I can see. Just knowing that is helping me. Okay, we're out of time. Thank you all.
Have a great one, everybody.
Love you all.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom. Thank you.